Hello, I hope you are all having an amazingly wonderful day and welcome to this channel. If you have not yet joined this family, I recommend you join this family. You go down there, you like, you comment, you share, and you subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss out on all that is going on here. And if you have already joined this family, thank you for all the support, for the likes and comments. I take time to read them and I really like the feedback I am getting so far. Thank you for helping me to grow this community so that we can help our fellow brothers and sisters. By now, I am guessing a lot of you have already heard the fact that Canada is planning on capping the number of student visas that they issue. Unfortunately, this has been something that some of us has been expecting. I mean, it became obvious long before they increased the minimum balance that you needed for your statement of support. And some of us knew that was just the beginning and not the end. And I won't be surprised if they actually bring out more policies to try to curb the challenges of these past few years that has arisen out of the student, or should I say international student program. I won't want to say these challenges were caused by the international student program though. Yes, it wasn't, even though it contributed to it. But mainly these challenges came to the fore during the COVID time and post-COVID. And I think this is a situation that has actually affected many countries, not just Canada. So here is the case that rent is going up, groceries are going up, everything is going up. That is a fact, and it is happening everywhere, all over the world, including Canada. So because of this, a lot of international students come in, and because of the previous $10,000 they were supposed to prove, they come in with that money and they soon realize it's not enough because your rent is high, much higher than before. Groceries, anything you want to buy is more expensive now. And because of the large number of international students coming in, these days it's not that easy to get a job when you land. Some actually take a few months before they're able to land their first job, though it's not a well-paying job, like it's a minimum wage job, but it still takes them time to find that minimum wage job. That should let you know how difficult or how dire these challenges have been. So most international students come in hoping to work to support themselves. And I think this is where the problem started. So we had students who came in, held demonstrations all across Canada, complaining of high cost of accommodation, high cost of living. Some were even complaining Canada scammed them by painting a better picture to them in their home country, only for them to get here to realize the story is quite different. I don't know how Canada is painted to people outside, but the reality is, it is not easy being an international student in Canada. Though I have never been an international student, I do have friends who are international students whom I talk to and I get to know the kind of things they go through and all of that. So I do know for sure it's not easy to be an international student in Canada. Whilst we Canadians are paying like say 4,000, 5,000 tuition fee for some programs, our classmates in same programs, same course, same professors are paying like 4 times and even sometimes way more. We have international student in the nursing degree program paying around $50,000 and over, whilst local students or Canadians are paying in the region of 8,000, 7,000. So yes, it is very expensive to be an international student. That is a fact. So when you have international students coming in, hoping to work to support themselves, and aside the fact they have to pay this huge tuition fees, which they should have been aware of before coming here, they now also have to pay their rent, buy groceries, the same living expenses that we all have. And more often, they only get to work minimum wage jobs, like I explained in my previous videos. So working a minimum wage job and being limited to 20 hours per week means there's only so much you can earn. And with this limited amount of funds, you definitely need the support coming from outside, because there's no way you can depend on these 20-hour minimum wage jobs and expect to cater for yourself, rent, expenses, bills, even mobile phone bills, and then still save some to support your tuition fees. That is something I really don't think is possible. I've heard some people are able to do it, especially people who are doing like certificate programs, diploma programs, and paying like 8,000, 9,000 a semester. Some people are doing it, but it's still not easy. This is why I thought being allowed to work more than the 20 hours helped some international students. But then, I don't really know whether that is what also influenced it. It's like, even though they were allowed to now work 40 hours or more than 20 hours, that is the period we also had international students complaining of accommodation expenses, having to hold demonstrations and forcing some schools to provide affordable accommodation to these international students. So the schools doing this means the school now have to cover a part of these accommodation fees, which is something the schools won't want to do. And like I said previously, we also had international students from some countries complaining how Canada was sold to them to be the heaven on earth, only for them to get here and realize it was the exact opposite. And they now have to struggle. People who had good jobs back home or had to come here and now have to start from scratch and suffering. So before, there were complaints, there were challenges, but they were just among students. But this time, they became so loud that it got the attention of these influential players. So it's now gotten to a point where they just had to do something about it. And then they started by increasing the minimum amount you are supposed to have in your statement of support. So the 10,000 that was set previously was set somewhere in the early 2000s. And that was because around that time, having 10,000 was good enough to take you for almost the whole year. But that's about 2 decades now. Times have changed. Prices have shot up. Things are more expensive now. So if you come in with just $10,000, that can barely take you for 3 months. So it's gotten to the point where if you coming in with the previous requirement of $10,000, you come in here and you realize it's not sufficient. So now the 20,000 is supposed to be enough to take you for almost a year, or at least half of the year. So that by then you might have secured a job and be able to support yourself, whatever you are making here. And now they are also trying to cap the number of student visas that they issue. This, I believe, is just to help reduce the number of students coming in so that there will be more jobs for those that are here, and then they'll be able to support themselves better. Because with the accompanied high interest rate and rentals going up, and a lot of people coming for these same limited rentals, it's just going to result in the prices shooting up because we have more demand than supply. This is basic economics. So if they are able to reduce the supply, that's the number of people coming in looking for rent, then hopefully it is going to cause rentals to stabilize a bit, and then those who are coming in can probably get affordable housing. This is my understanding of it. I am just hoping they don't bring any more stringent measures that are going to deny people opportunities to come into Canada. So the reality of an international student in Canada is, it's not easy. This is the summary version. It's not easy to be an international student in Canada. So let me try and expand it a bit. Let's assume you've been able to meet the whole requirements of your bank statement and everything, and you now have your visa and you are in Canada. You have to pay your tuition fees. Tuition fees for most schools are charged per semester. So for certificate and diploma programs, you are paying in the region of $8,000 to $10,000. And if you come in as an international student, or this is actually for students, not just international students, mostly because of your time schedule, like your school schedule, you don't really have time to do other jobs. So you have to make sure whatever job you're getting have a flexible time schedule so that you will be able to go to school and still work at the same time. And these jobs happen to be the retail centers and food distribution centers, and so, and all of these, or most of them, pay minimum wages. So if you are an international student and you're only allowed to work 20 hours and you only earning in the region of 16.5 or $17 an hour, how much can you make in a week? So let me say you are able to get your whole 20 hours of work that you are allowed to. So 20 times, say, 16.5, which is the minimum wage here in Canada. That means you are making just about $330 per week. So this week, since you get paid bi-weekly, let's say times 2 weeks, so times 2, that means bi-weekly you are only making around $660. Yes, so that means bi-weekly you are making just around $700. Most international students are in a single room shared apartment, and these days those are going for around $800 a month. So if your rent is $800 and you're making roughly $700 bi-weekly, it means in a month you are making $1,400. You take $800 to pay your rent. How much do you have left? That's $600. So you now have to manage that $600, use it to pay for your groceries and every other thing. And don't forget, you are a student, so you still need to buy books. Some books cost like in excess of $100. Some are a little cheaper, below $100. So yeah. So with all these, how much do you think you're going to save a month towards paying your tuition fees? not much. So yes, like I said, being an international student isn't easy. So if you're schooling for, say, a year, it means by 4 months' time, you should have been able to pay your first term tuition fees. And tuition fees always come with a deadline. If you miss the deadline, it means you start paying interest rate. So for students who have been able to pay their first term tuition fees, they now have to try and save enough to pay their second term tuition fee. That's if they only have a 1 year program. So if I am assuming that before they came in, they had already paid their first term tuition fees, it means whatever they saved for the first semester is supposed to be going towards their next semester tuition fees. And a few weeks into the semester, your deadline is going to be over, meaning there's a high chance you are going to miss it. I mean, if you have to pay like 8,000 a semester and you're only making 1,400 a month, paying rent of 800, having only 600 to cater for your all other expenses, bills, groceries, books, and all of that, how much can you save towards that 8,000? So it makes things a little bit dicey. But then yes, many people are able to sail through it, graduate from school, get their postgraduate work permit, and some, not all, but some are able to move on to become permanent residents. So yes, this is the life of an international student. So before you think of applying to school in Canada, you have to take all of these into consideration. It's not easy. It's not heaven on earth, as some people put it. You have to be ready for these challenges before you come in. And if you know all of these and prepared for it, I know you are definitely going to excel, because Canada is one of the best places you would want to study and work and raise families if you become a PR. Yes. So with the background of Canada trying to cap international student visas and probably other policies, more stringent policies coming in the future, I think this is the best time to apply for your student visa if you have any such plans, because no one knows what is coming in the near future. So if you really want to come here to school, then this will be the right time you get serious with it before any other policies become an obstacle that you may not be able to jump. I think I'm going to end here. If you have any questions or anything that you want to let me know, any questions, comments, whatever, go to the comment section. And if you like this video, I want you to like it so that it will at least make me feel the support you have for me. And make sure to share my videos so that other people, your friends, your siblings, your family, others will also get to benefit from the information. And don't forget to join the family. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe so that you will be notified when I make the next content, because it is definitely going to be as informative as ever. Have a nice day. Peace out and see you in my next video.